Fans, welcome back for another week of Working Fans Wednesday. I'm producer Joe. I will be joined shortly by the man they call Dave and AJ Strangebrew. And tonight we're going to do a live 5-3-1 on the first 5-3-1 we ever did, which was super heavyweights. Check out episode number 1 for that in the archives. We are also going to be talking tonight's MLW, AEW, and NXT cards. If you're looking to seek us out on social media, we are on Twitter at FansWorking. That's also the name of our Twitch channel as well. Our Facebook page is the Working Fans Podcast page. Go over there, give it a like, as well as the Buzz Facebook page that you're watching us on right now. Our email is workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. Our Instagram, which has been taking off greatly, come join the army over at workingfanswrestling_pod. Our YouTube is www.youtube.com/c/workingfanswrestlingpod. Our website is workingfanspodcast.com. Patreon, www.patreon.com/workingfanspodcast. And our comedy podcast releases every Tuesday. Well, our wrestling podcast releases every Thursday. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pocket Cast, all major podcast providers. The important thing is to like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you can. That helps push us up the charts. Now, we are brought to you by 482 Designs. That is FOUR82designs@gmail.com. Email Kevin over there. He can get you set up with printing up some nice shirts, some stickers. You know them. We sell them. WrestleTopia. JD Sloan has been on the show. He shared memories of Tracy Smothers with us. On Facebook, just search WrestleTopia. On Twitter, that is @WrestleTopia. And you are well aware of our partnership with Manscaped. Happy New Year's from our sponsors at Manscaped. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. And they are here to help you have clean balls in the new year. If that wasn't your New Year's resolution already, I don't know if I can be fucking with you. But ring in the new year with the right tools for the job. That is manscaped.com. Code WFP2020. 20% off your whole order. The more you order, the more you save, and you help them get the Working Fans Podcast name out there a little more. Remember, manscaped.com, WFP2020. And last but not least, we are brought to you by The Buzz. The Buzz is our podcast network. If you're searching them out on Facebook, it's The Buzz. On YouTube, they are youtube.com/c/thebuzz2020. On Twitter, they are @WTBDOTCOM, @WTB.com. You can go over there, get the latest updates on whatever we're releasing. Now, let me play a short video here detailing all the live shows we have going on over at the network.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look with the top dish. Tie game, through the pressure with the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hear the shot, swish. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Do we see the confetti?
Get the Lambo car, house in the hills with the stars. Told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I'd go far. Baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now.
Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Woo! Ready to rock and roll.
Now, guys, the 531 we're doing tonight is the first one ever. Do you guys remember the argument we got into during this 531? I believe sitting at Dave's kitchen table.
It would have been sitting at our kitchen table. I know, unlike AJ, because I do my homework, we're talking about the big men. I'm sure you would have got it, AJ. Now, the argument, though,
was that Dave thought King Kong Bundy was the greatest big man of all time. I believe
that was not it, but we were arguing about what would constitute as a big man. AJ, you had brought up that what was a big man back then might not be a big man now. That's what I remember.
Well, there's a difference between a super heavyweight and a big man.
It was actually Terry Gordy.
It was you're damn right. It was Bam Bam Terry Gordy. Terry Gordy is one of the greatest big men of all time. However, he does not classify as a super heavyweight, is what we were arguing.
Yeah, he was your pick, though.
Yeah, because the terminology that we used at the time was not super heavyweight. The terminology that we used was who was the best big man in wrestling.
And you're going by the time period too. If Terry Gordy for the time period would have been a big man.
And in that time period, he was as big as they come.
Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? I got it.
And that was definitely your argument. This was the infancy of this segment. Like, I remember, even if you go back and listen to how I described it, it's way different than the intro that I botch every week. Dave, how tough is intro reading as kind of a small sidebar?
I fucking hate it. I was doing it today for you, and I cursed myself out several times, and I appreciated you a lot more today, sir. Just so you know. I absolutely hated it. I was actually thinking that, too. Like, it's the 531. It's our signature segment, and I just want to be like, if you don't like it, fuck you, because who cares? Because I was just so done with doing this thing all day. What's up, Tyler Peters?
Exactly. It's tough. Tyler Peters weighing in here.
Dude, 100% Tyler Peters knows what he's talking about. Terry Gordy is one of the greatest ever. If you don't know that, shame on you.
He's definitely
one of the greatest super heavyweights ever. Now, we're going to start tonight. AJ, what is your list tonight for super heavyweights? Because I'm going to remind you what your list was from.
Ooh, slick boy.
So here's the big thing. When we discuss these things, they can change at any time because depending upon how we feel, whether we're talking greatest wrestler or greatest big man or lightweight or whatever, we're always going to have a different feeling depending upon where it is. I'm adding somebody to my list right now because I think that this guy's the future of the super heavyweights. I'm adding Keith Lee to my list.
Actually, that was on his list before, too.
God, you are. Who else you got?
I really cannot remember.
Sidebar. I bet I remember AJ's list better than he remembers it. But go ahead.
He's the most consistent he's ever been.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
He's gonna give us the exact same list.
I got to put Vader on my list for
Jesus,
super
somebody's
heavyweights.
putting this over hard.
Yeah, you did right.
Vader's on my list for super heavyweights, greatest of all time. To me, you got to put Andre the Giant obviously on there. It sounds like I'm hitting it out of the park so far.
I won't, but that's all right.
And I gave you one, so you got one more.
Yeah. Terry Gordy's on my list of greatest super heavyweights of all time. And then I got to tell you, Bam Bam Bigelow is on my list of super heavyweights of all time.
Dave, you're not going to believe this. 100%.
I believe it.
You believe it? It blows me out of the park. I'm amazed.
I believe it. That's funny.
You guys know I did not do my homework. I have no idea what my
I don't
list
think you
is.
knew the segment. I think you mentioned it one
do your
time, which is not enough for you. I was literally texting you before we went on air. Oh, I didn't get it in time enough. Hey, don't forget it's a top 5 big men. And then we went on. I'm like, oh, fuck it. Hope he knows.
I'm going to say, though, that is a testament to AJ's wrestling knowledge because you can't bullshit somebody if you drop like the same list twice.
No, yeah, he believes that list. So hats off to you.
And AJ only believes in big men. Fuck
I
Rey
do.
Mysterio. Fuck Marco Stunt. Fuck -1 is what AJ said.
Fuck -1. Get out of here with that shit. Hey, now listen, I gotta say, Bruiser Brody is an awesome heavyweight, awesome big man. I have to say, yeah, Jacob Fatu is another good one.
I take back fuck -1. That was
Okay. You're trying to be funny.
Hey,
luckily, not enough people watch the show. Don't worry.
Okay, first of all,
we got 3 people watching now that are pissing their pants.
First of all, I'm pretty sure -1's actually bigger than Rey Mysterio.
He's definitely bigger than Marco Stunt. But listen, the thing about it is, yeah, you're right. Now, I would say, joking aside, if we told AJ to give me the top 5 cruiserweights a year ago, and then he has to give me another top 5, that might be different. He'd be like, what did I bullshit last year? Because I don't like these little motherfuckers anyway. But the heavyweights, he has a genuine love for. So
I might have -1 on my list of top cruiserweights.
You might. I want to get my list because I'm curious to see how I do because my mind definitely does go back and forth. I'm sure I'll get at least 2 of these, maybe 3. I'm hoping for 3. All right. Number 1 on my list, it's going to be Andre the Giant. There's no way Andre does not make my list. All right. Number 2 on my list, Big Show Paul White. All right. He's not Andre, but he's still one of the best big men of all time as far as I'm concerned. Hard to not put him up there. I understand the consistency, but he's a super heavyweight, and he can do it all. And he was a WCW and WWF World Heavyweight Champion. That means something to me. Okay, Big Van Vader. He's going to make my list. To me, one of the most athletic big men of all time. Awesome brawler. WCW World Champion. Champion in Japan. In main events in WWE for the world title. Got to be there. Yokozuna. All right. 500-pound Samoan. We called him Japanese. Whatever. He wasn't really Japanese. But he's also awesome. Could really move well. Great athletic big man. And then this is the one I don't remember if I would definitely put on there before because he's probably not necessarily super heavyweight for size. Ain't Terry Gordy. But when you look at him, he's 6'9". He's a big guy. I'm going to put him in there, The Undertaker.
Wow, your list is one off. You had Bam Bam Bigelow in the last one.
Okay, I put Bam Bam probably because of more size over Taker. And I thought about Bam Bam this time, but I said, you know what? I'm going to classify Taker as a heavyweight and fuck it. Because if you take those 2 and you put them next to each other, Taker's, no offense, I love Bam Bam, but Taker's the more successful, the bigger draw, and means more. But if we're going by just size, and if you're going to argue whether Taker belongs in there, that's when we're getting, big men, super heavyweight. Great colleague. This guy, what a clown. Shut up, Randy. I love you, but come on. Get out of here with that.
That's why he doesn't get invited to our impact parties.
He's invited anytime. Check him out.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, I'm going to give you guys. I got Vader. I got Mike Awesome. I got Yokozuna. I got Earthquake, John Tenta.
Nice.
And I'm going to give it to Abdullah the Butcher. Turned 80.
Fuck Abdullah the Butcher.
You know what's funny? I thought about giving up.
Exactly what you said the first time. I only included him because I needed to round out a top 5. I had Tugboat the first time. That's how big I fucked up.
You know what? I would have put Tugboat over Abby. But you know what? I thought about putting Tenta as an honorable mention earlier. And Abdullah actually, I'm not going to lie, AJ, he actually crossed my mind today. And I literally went, nah, fuck that guy.
Here's the thing about John Tenta.
Happy 80th.
Yeah. Here's the thing about John Tenta, Earthquake.
Yeah.
Yokozuna played part in wrestling
Excellent.
as a sumo wrestler. John Tenta was a legitimate sumo wrestler champion who came over after doing sumo and came in and did professional wrestling.
Great point. Yes.
How about that summer that you did sumo, bud?
No, that was actually just a girl dressed in sumo.
Good for you. Versatile.
United Nations, Dave.
Hmm.
Now, guys, who do you have as our top 3 tonight? We haven't gotten a ton of lists.
Oh yeah. People that commented here didn't comment on anybody we had.
Bam Bam Bigelow. We got Bruiser Brody, Jacob Fatu. We're gonna go with the
so
top
Who
3.
commented Bam Bam?
Randy
Bam
Oscar
Bam.
came in with it.
Randy Osga.
Okay. I saw Fought too. Hey, Andre's
Here's
got to be. Don't
AJ
worry about.
Strangebrew, we coming for you.
Don't worry about Randy. Don't worry about Randy.
As far as I'm dude, as far as I'm concerned, Randy, you're invited to any party. It's these two schmucks who don't like you.
You know what? You can go to AJ. AJ lives a little far, but he'll give you his address. We're having it at his party at his house this Saturday. Hey.
We'll text you the address. Just
Hey, Andre's got to make the list. I think that's definite. Like to me, right?
Hey, I want to say something about Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen are two guys that in their time period would have been considered super heavyweights because they were over that 300-pound mark. But remember, Hogan was also in that 325-pound mark.
I thought about Hogan today. Hogan definitely, yeah.
Those guys in the late 70s, when Hogan did the Rocky movie there as Thunder Lips, remember, he was considered a giant in his day. All three of those guys were monsters.
Dan
What's up,
Backley
Backley?
out there. Thank you, buddy.
After we're talking about best big men of all time.
Randy was on that live stream last night.
Cool. That was you.
At least,
At
least we know
Thank
who
you
the
for
one
keeping
is.
Joe company. Anyway, I gotta say, Andre and Vader would be two of the guys I would think would make this top 3. I don't know. Joe,
Oh,
what do you
without
think?
a doubt.
Okay.
You got to get Andre on there. I mean, how do you not get Andre on there?
Mhm.
He's the most legendary of all time. Vader to me, my number 3. Even though he wasn't on my list, you sold me on Earthquake, believe it or not.
Mm.
Okay, last time we went Vader, Andre, Bam Bam. This time we're gonna go Vader, Andre, Earthquake.
Okay.
Who gets the boot first? And I'm sorry, it's Earthquake.
It's got to be Earthquake. Now, this isn't a legitimate like street fight competition because then I might get rid of Vader. No offense to Vader, because I think it's going to
Vader's
come down
been
to
dead
Andre.
a couple years. I don't think he's gonna win at all.
Well, I
Tenta's
think
been
everybody's
dead.
dead on this
They're
list.
all dead. I didn't
Yeah.
even look.
And Andre was the first one to die.
Yeah. Death is funny. All right. So, anyway,
All right, Pete. Dad.
I'm gonna go in. We're just our last show. We're not gonna be on anymore. The buzz is like, get these guys out of here.
No, they love us. This is our personality.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Hey,
Oh,
I gotta
God.
say,
Vincent
gotta be-
Perry tuning
hey,
in.
Vincent Barry, thank you for joining in, man. Yeah, King
Author
Kong
of
Bundy.
Land by Chance.
Yeah, King Kong Bundy actually had a good career before the WWE. He was one of the stars down in World Class when he feuded with Fritz and Von Erich and Von Erichs to go along there with Vincent Berry. And obviously, he wrote the book Lance by Chance, which is the story of Lance Von Erich becoming a Von Erich. But King Kong Bundy was definitely one of the men down there.
Also, back with throwing in Big Boss Man, a great athletic big man.
One of the things that I think hurts Bossman is we don't think of him as a super heavyweight because he moved so well.
Oh, no shit. So back was right down the road from King Kong Bundy. Listen,
I didn't know he lived that close to a graveyard.
so keeping up with those death jokes. Bang! I gotta say,
I didn't know
I
it
always
was
think
a
of Boss
comedy
Man.
podcast. I thought that releases on Tuesdays.
I always thought Boss Man as a super heavyweight. I think it was just that he was such a. And I don't mean this insulting like you do with some people, but he was such a character. I always just thought of him as a character, and I just didn't. I don't know. Like he's one of the best, but he doesn't make my top 5 ever when I think of him. I guess.
Well, I think the NWA presented him as a super heavyweight. The WWF presented him as a character, and that's all you're going to remember him for. Up
Like,
here.
what are the
honestly, they have done a really good job though, because that's how I remember him. That's
But as we dwindle them down, one of the things we have to take into consideration is how long on top these heavyweights were.
right.
Big Boss Man had maybe a 2 or 3 year stretch where he was really on top. King Kong Bundy had basically WrestleMania 2.
Sure.
You had so a lot of these guys didn't have great runs on top. Even Earthquake, to be honest with you, didn't have a great run on top. And Randy's doing a good job of mentioning guys that could classify as definitely heavyweights, but the fine line, though, is super heavyweights. And
Mhm.
what we consider a super heavyweight today is not the same definition as it was. And unfortunately, I don't think Matt Morgan or Brian Cage are considered to be super heavyweights by today's standards.
King Mabel was definitely a super heavyweight, though. I will give you that, Backley.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's not making
I
the
ignored
list.
that one on purpose.
No, 100%.
Hey,
Now,
we got a boot earthquake, though. It's got to be down to Andre and Vader. Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay, Randy has a vote here.
Okay. Well, that's a great vote, and it's definitely considered. And maybe I'm going to lose, but my money is always going to be on the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. That's the guy who headlined WrestleMania 3. But even beyond that, if you want to go old school, this was the guy they loaned out to territories and would sell out territories. This was the attraction, whether it was in Mid-South, whether it was AWA. And I don't know. This is a long run, guys. We've never had an attraction like Andre still, and I don't know if we're ever going to get that in our lifetime. So to me, it's always Andre.
I think the sad part is a lot of people just remember Andre from the end when he could barely move and stuff of that nature. People forget that he was the original big guy that could actually move. He threw drop kicks, could move around the ring, and he was larger than any other wrestler, even remotely close. Good mention of Big John Studd there, who was another good big man.
Yeah.
But Andre just was that attraction. No matter who you put him in there with, it was going to be a sellout. And Hogan at WrestleMania 3 doesn't put up the numbers without having Andre the Giant there across the ring.
That's an excellent point. That is 1,000% right. Hogan was on fire. He would have done great business with somebody, but having Andre, that's what made that the happening that it was. It had to be Hogan versus Andre.
Randy actually mentioned Batista. Batista, not a super heavyweight. However, from what I hear,
what? I'll beat you to it.
Way to steal my line, Dave.
Knew where you were going.
Now, guys, I was going to vote for Vader because, as I argued the first episode, his athleticism, I think, puts him over Andre for what he could do. But we've got a 2-1 vote for Andre the Giant. So
Vader
I
never drew like Andre.
Top super heavyweight this week. And guys, talking about dicks, I'm going to play a short video here. And then, AJ, you're going to talk to us about Manscaped a little bit.
Hit it.
Now, everybody knows we're affiliated with Manscaped. Happy New Year's to Manscaped. Manscaped.com, WFP 2020. Clean your nuts up. AJ, you were telling me a little bit about shaving your balls earlier. What was the design you were going to cut into them? Because I was going Road Warrior Animal.
Well, I went more of a Stone Cold Steve Austin. I happen to know for a fact Dave went more of a Sheamus.
Road Warrior
However,
actually.
But guys, happy 2021. Let's face it, no matter what hairstyle you choose to go with, hairy nuts is still absolutely the grossest thing you can bring to the table. So let's start off the year strong this year. Let's come out of quarantine, clean those balls up with the Lawnmower 3.0. Make sure that your best friends are not getting nicked when you're trimming down there with all the safe technology that we have, the ceramic blade. There's a light down there to protect yourself. You can keep your boys safe so you're not getting color like like Stone Cold versus Bret Hart. You don't need that kind of look. It's also time in this new year to use the crop preserver. Keep the boys fresh down there. Keep the crop reviver, getting everything looking good. Don't be Vincent Barry with the Bob Marley look. We want to make sure that you have the best technology. So get the travel bag, put it together with all the new 3.0 technology. You can also get your Manscaped drawers to make sure you're protecting yourself I got 3 pairs of these to keep the boys warm during these cold winter months.
Mm.
And right now, if you use our code
I got mine hugging my leg
WFP,
right now.
there you go. If you use our code WFP 2020, and you'll get 20% off your total purchase. No matter how much products you buy, you can buy everything on the freaking site. They'll give you 20% off. So remember,
Full order.
WFP 2020, and they'll also give you free shipping. Don't be like my wife who won't actually purchase anything without free shipping. These guys give you the free shipping. Manscaped.com, WFP 2020.
You got that crop preserver spray. You got the deodorant. You got the ear hair whacker.
They will take care of everything. You know what I even have, Joe? I've actually got deodorizer for my feet because when you hit the gym and when you're sweating and working hard all day long, let's face it, your feet can stink too. They actually have a spray now that you squirt on your feet. You don't smell like you're freaking coming from working the hogs, right, Aunt Randy?
You don't want your feet and your balls smelling like Parmesan. That's all Manscaped is saying.
So the short of it is manscaped.com 2020. Save 20% off your total purchase and free shipping.
All right, that's enough dick talk. Let's go to
Thank you, Manscaped.
cards. No, we love Manscaped. They're putting your boys on the map.
Woo!
They love us. But MLW tonight, it's a
Yeah.
Selena De La Renta episode.
Yeah.
What match are you most excited for, Dave?
Okay. Well, first off, it's not the match I'm most excited for, but shout out to at the last minute we find out Brian Pillman Jr. is wrestling Mil Muertes from Lucha Underground fame. And Joe, I know you're happy I got that right, by the way, too. I can tell you judging me. But
I know you're speaking the language of your people. I love it.
I love it, man. Selena De Rente. But listen, the match I'm looking forward to the most.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Mil Muertes.
No, I'm excited for that. I think that's a great little attraction, but we know how that's going to be. Pillman's with AEW now. He's going to put Mil over. Mil's going to look dominant, and I'm excited to see what happens, though. But the match I'm looking forward to the most is it's Los Parks versus the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall, with Filthy Tom as the referee. I have a feeling, me and Randy talked about this, actually, the Von Erichs might drop the belt tonight, with Tom as the special referee. The fix could be in. I don't know that. I'm pulling from my boys, Ross and Marshall. They did this podcast. You always get my respect and love, but you don't know.
Guys, I don't know if you heard this or not. One of the reasons why they're bringing in Mil Muertes is because when Selena De La Renta signed her contract, they actually gave her the opportunity to produce three shows to show what she can do from the production side. And this is actually one of the shows that she's actually producing tonight. So you'll get a taste as to what her booking style is and what her production style is tonight.
She's done one so far that was good. She's also got a message for Conan tonight.
Yep.
I want to get this show done early just so I can see it. No offense to our fans, but MLW, I think, even though AEW has a stacked card, MLW's the show to watch tonight. Josh, I know you don't watch the indies. Watch this.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a message for Conan also. It's Viva La
Get
Raza.
on it, too.
What are we hitting next, Joe? Give us another one. We're moving on.
Next, we are going to be talking about AEW stacked card tonight. Darby Allin, Brian Cage. You got Pac versus Eddie Kingston. Very good promo leading up to that this week. Miro versus Chucky T. If Chucky T loses, he becomes Miro's young boy. Serena versus Day Contact.
Worst stipulation of the year. Absolutely the worst stipulation of the year.
Yeah, we kind of see this coming a mile away, right? It's not like we expect Miro to be the young boy for Chucky T.
I don't even know if that's actually part of the stipulation. I think it's just one way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know how I skipped over this. Sorry, George South. FTR versus Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy.
Yes, because last week
they're going to beat the shit out of them, I hope.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I hope so. I love it. Last week was Marco was saying, what we're doing, and FTR was like, Marco, you don't do anything. And then Marco told Luchasaurus to stay behind. We got this. And I'm like, oh, well, they're going to get really bad. We hurt. Okay, I see the storyline here. So, well, and you know what? You forgot about one thing. The waiting room they do tonight for Dynamite, at least, with Cody Rhodes, Britt Baker hosting the waiting room. So,
AJ, are you familiar with the waiting room?
Yeah, that's actually a segment that they've been doing on Dark, where Britt Baker and it hasn't been on Dark.
No, it has, but just
Oh, you were shaking your head. No, so I was.
You come through in the clutch.
yeah.
That's I was like that's where I saw it was on Dark. But it's basically been Britt Baker and Rebel, or sorry, Reba or Reba or whatever she's calling her.
Yep, Reba.
That's,
Reba Larissa.
yeah.
Called by Rebel, yeah.
Yeah, but literally it's them doing a doctor's dentist waiting room where they bring in people to interview them and give a little chat with them. So it should be
Like
interesting.
an old school talk show segment, and I think one of the parts of Dark that usually I would hate, and I hate Rebel's laugh, but I love this segment.
Reminds me of Tony Atlas used to do that laugh on the old ECW WWE version. It had some talk shows like Abraham Washington or something, and Tony Atlas had this ha 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 ha.
No, I think that's his laugh. It fucking sucks.
Well,
I mean, you don't want to judge a person in their greatest moment of joy, but shit, some laughs you just got to keep inside.
Yeah, that was horrible. That old ECW all around. But tonight's show, unlike, I think it should be interesting. I mean, they're obviously setting up some kind of angle here where Cody's going to get attacked or something's coming.
We've also got the Elite will be in action and Inner Circle's New Year's resolutions. That will be a good segment no matter how cinematic it is.
And do we see people from Impact Wrestling tonight?
Well, last week we saw them join forces. We saw the Elite put back together. We saw the Young Bucks with obviously Kenny Omega and then the Good Brothers. How many more members? Is it going to be like the NWO where they're starting to put together?
Josh Ward's watching.
Do we see the Guns?
Yeah.
Do we see
I mean,
Rich Swann?
Is Adam Page coming back into the fold, or is he going to go off with the Dark Order? We don't know.
Want to talk about the couple things we know about NXT? Because I only know two.
Yeah, I think there's only two because it is the start of the Dusty Classic.
Yeah.
And we got 2 tag team matches on the card for tonight.
Yeah, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong versus Breezango. And we got the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson versus Everrise.
Chris Parker and Matt Martell.
Yeah.
The grizzled young veterans who made a great showing last year at the Dusty Classic and then obviously have killed it on NXT United Kingdom are a fantastic team. And I'm really hoping they get another push here because the way they work together is very similar to your old school, almost reminds me a little bit of FTR with a little bit of a new school twist to it. And I really, really like that team.
So Candice LeRae versus Shotzi Blackheart.
Has that been added?
Loomis versus Gargano apparently tonight.
I don't know, Josh. I looked up a couple hours ago. There wasn't, but maybe something got added last minute. I'd be excited to see Blackheart and LeRae. I think that would be an excellent match.
Yeah, I've definitely been sleeping on NXT lately.
So.
The problem is NXT has been they did have a good card last week. Their card was phenomenal.
I'm excited to see the Women's Dusty Cup too, to actually see what they end up bringing in there too.
What's up, Gary Schweeder?
Yeah, he does New Japan talk. Gary, how did you feel about Wrestle Kingdom? And this is only going to be a minor comment because we are at the end of the show, guys. Yeah. We are. What is the show you're most looking forward to tonight?
I think AEW just has the big lineup tonight. I mean, if you look at last week, it was kind of competitive because we thought, okay, NXT had a real well-booked show that was weeks in advance. But this week, it's like the fall off, and this is like night 2. A-. There you go, Joe. Well, that's
I think that's often, but young man, get fucked. It is definitely MLW.
MLW is going to be solid. I'm sorry. I'm excited for MLW, but
that Von Erich's match versus Los Parks, that is going to be a war. There's going to be blood, and the Von Erichs are going to get fucked. I don't want to see it. But the best wrestling is when I'm left upset. So they're going to lose it.
I'm going to watch all 3 of them tonight. I'm going to start off with MLW. That's going to be the first one that I watch, which will give you an idea.
First?
No, it's just the one that I'm most excited for, to be honest with you. And then AEW will be my number 2, and then we'll be going NXT in the final slot because, like I said, I just don't think they've done a good job of getting us amped up for this week. Whereas I'm extremely excited for MLW and excited for Josh DeBoard and Cody Rhodes in the waiting room.
Now, there is no sarcasm in those comments.
No, he means it. That's from the heart. That's a lot of love. Nothing but love.
Now, guys,
I-
we got a wrestling podcast releasing tomorrow with Gene Jackson.
Yes.
This guy has a Jerry Lawler story you are not going to want to miss.
It's amazing. It absolutely is amazing.
He's got a Greg Valentine story that I didn't think I should put in the episode, but I'm like, you know what? It's going in there.
You're right.
And
He's
actually,
good.
I haven't heard it yet, but I assume it involves cocaine.
Who knows?
Allegedly.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but maybe. And Gene Jackson is also going to be our next comedy podcast the following Tuesday. This guy is an interview you're not going to want to miss. So, guys, thank you for joining us again this week, and we will see you again next week. Have a good
guys.
Bye, Randy.